What's going on, people of YouTube? This is Bros Talking Soccer Podcast, episode 38. My name is Dave Knittel, as usual, and my brother Matt is here. Christian's not with us. Matt, say hello.
Hello, hi all listeners. How you doing today, Dave?
Doing well. Thanks. I got on, so I don't have a Napoli scarf, but I have an Italy scarf, and I was watching them just absolutely destroy Nice earlier today. So that's what I'm repping today for all the listeners, and I think we're pretty set to go here.
Yeah,
All right, let's get right to it. So, people of YouTube, starting now will be what you can listen to on your podcasting platform of choice. So, ready? What's up, everyone, and welcome to episode 38 of the Bros Talking Soccer podcast, brought to you by Fan Futsal. My name is Dave Knittel, and I'm here with just my brother Matt this week to discuss stories from around the soccer world. Matt, how you feeling? How was the red-eye flight home?
I'm doing well, Dave. I'm a little tired, but had a great time out in California with you.
Yeah, we were happy to have you. So it was awesome seeing you, getting around to all the different places and beach towns and all that. So great times all around. I'm doing well, enjoying, getting back to the grind a little bit with doing stuff for Fan Futsal and watching a bunch of soccer. So I cannot complain. We have no Christian this week, so we're going to skip our trivia question and get right into our topics. But before we do that, let me quick tell you about Fan Futsal. What is Fan Futsal, you may be wondering? Well, Fan Futsal is a different fantasy soccer experience where you select 5 clubs instead of 8 to 11 individual players for your weekly fantasy teams. You then arrange these clubs into a formation, give them positions which emphasize different scoring attributes. The only fantasy scoring elements are goals scored, goals conceded, and the result of the match. It's that simple. Pick 5 teams, complete your lineup, then sit back and follow match scores to see how you're doing. All leagues are back on Fan Futsal this week. We had the 5 major European leagues as well as MLS and Liga MX on the site right now. It's different than any fantasy soccer game you've played before, and since the games are weekly, there's no long commitment. If you like soccer, you're going to like Fan Futsal. It only takes a few seconds to sign up, so join now and start playing at FanFutsal, FANFUTSAL.com today. 2 other real quick Fan Futsal announcements. We are doing a tailgate for the August 26th match between Philadelphia Union and Atlanta United at the Union Stadium down in Chester. Going to be from about 4 p.m. to 6:30 p.m. We'll have some free Fan Futsal stickers you can put on your phone, computer, whatever you want. Also have snacks, beer, water, sodas, some games, probably some cornhole, soccerized version of beer pong. And so we would love it if you came and joined us. There's more details on the Fan Futsal page, so go check that out and register your interest there. Sign up for the event. Lastly, we are working on a new tournament feature for Fan Futsal where you can play kind of like a World Cup style tournament where you and some friends get together, you play a group stage and then knockout round. So we just finished development and are starting beta testing on that. So if anyone would like to be a part of that beta test and test out this new feature, please send us an email at contactus@fanfutsal.com. Those are my Fan Futsal spiels. Let's get into our topics for this week. Segment 1, first topic here, we have 2 Iranian players who were playing for Greek club Panionios. I'm sure I'm not pronouncing that right, but sounds fun, and that's how I'm going to say it. Played for them last week in a match against Maccabi Tel Aviv in a Europa League qualifier. Iran, the country, does not recognize Israel as a country, and it's forbidden for Iranian players to play Israeli clubs and against Israeli national teams. So these 2 national team players have been banned from ever playing for the national team again. Matt, first off, did you even know that this was a possibility? I never heard this before.
Yeah, it's the first time I'm hearing anything like this.
Yeah, and so what do you think the players should have done in this situation? Should they have sat out the match against the Israeli team, or do you think that they were right in playing for their club against this team?
Well, the one, I'm not really sure how to pronounce his name, but the captain of the Iranian national team, it looked like, who was one of the guys that got suspended. I feel like he probably should have known the consequences of going to Israel to play. Or was it in Israel or?
I'm not sure if it was in Israel or not, but let's just say it was.
Okay. So I feel like because he said he was what, 32, 33?
Yeah.
He should probably know how the teams run, and I'm sure this situation has come up before and players have said. I'm not 100% sure, but I'm just assuming that's the case. So I feel like he probably should have known better. Like, I'm not saying this is right, but I'm just saying he should have known the consequences.
Got it. So, well, so what if he did know the consequences and he was making a statement? Do you agree that, him making a statement in that way that he was going to play for his club team and he didn't care about his country's policies?
Well, I guess it could. I don't. Was it a political stand, or are you just saying,
I
if
don't
it
know the
was?
backstory. I don't know the backstory behind it. I just find it tough for him to not know the consequences. Like, I don't think there's any way he didn't understand the consequences of him playing. So my thought is that he's 33. He's probably getting towards the end of his international career. The other guy was 27, so I don't know exactly what his stance was, but they could have made a pact that the two of them were going to play. They were going to make a political statement, and that was how they decided to do it.
Yeah,
Pure conjecture on my part.
I mean, I'm sure it could have been an important political statement, but you know, it's unfortunate that they might not play.
Yeah. So if it was a political statement, do you think that it was right to make? Like, would you have done this if you were the captain or you were in their shoes? I know that's I'm reaching and grasping at straws here, but
Yeah,
just trying to.
I don't think I'm gonna speak too closely on the Iranian Israeli tension, but I don't really know the whole backstory and how all the bad blood between them. But um, yeah, I think it's not gonna go over well in the country. It's just something it's just stirring the pot.
Yeah, and I think if anything, this raises awareness, like we were talking about before. Neither of us even knew that this was a possibility and that this was a consequence of that happening, and just the fact that it's kind of getting out there more and raising awareness for it, I think could be a good thing in the long run. And so hopefully, there can be some good that comes of this, and there's more awareness around this issue, and hopefully, there's all kinds of issues, as you were alluding to, between those countries, and so I don't think that this is going to solve anything. But if anything, if it can further the conversation, I think that would be good. So let's keep this moving right along here, and let's go to another controversial topic. Joey Bart. So he is currently suspended for gambling on soccer matches over a number of years. And so he's been in the studio, or at least being interviewed a lot recently. And something he's been critical of recently is Jurgen Klopp. So over the last few weeks, he's been very critical of him, with some of his most recent comments saying that Klopp is not a super manager at the same level as Mourinho, Pep, Ancelotti, so on and so forth, who are the top end managers. He has one league title and one cup title, and that's about it. Matt, what do you think about Joey Barton and what he's saying about Klopp?
I like Klopp, but as of right now, the results haven't necessarily been there. I know he got them to Champions League, but it was a fourth place finish. It wasn't something that was, you know, incredibly impressive. It was a great season, but it's not something that's putting Liverpool back to what they once were. And the club, how big it is, should be aiming for league titles and competing in Champions League.
But he's only been there for a season and a
Yeah,
half at this point. So,
yeah,
and his argument that Klopp had managed for 7 years at Mainz and 7 years at Dortmund and only got two trophies out of that. I mean, it speaks to a certain extent, but also Mainz is a middling club. In fact, they were even a second division club when he was there, and he built them into a stable program in the Bundesliga now. And Dortmund he took from kind of lower mid table because all their financial crises and things that were going on in kind of the mid 2000s, and built them into a team that won the Bundesliga when Bayern is this powerhouse. So I think it's a little bit unfair of him to characterize Klopp based on his titles.
yeah. I agree with that. My next point was going to be, it's kind of hard to go into, even a big club, especially in England, if it's not Man City or Chelsea, because they necessarily get the funding to get all the players they want almost right away. For City and Chelsea, they do a real good job of getting the players that the manager wants, and I think that just puts them a little bit further ahead
Yeah,
than it would.
and Klopp is more along the lines of building something out over a longer time horizon too. He's not a manager that comes and stays for 2 to 3 years in the same mold as Pep and Mourinho are. And so again, I think it's unfairly judging him. I will say though, this is probably Klopp's highest profile job, because when he took over Dortmund, they weren't what Dortmund is today. And so him taking over Liverpool, yeah, they're probably the fourth best team in England nowadays, but if he can build them back up to be a title contender, I think that will hopefully be his legacy. I mean, nothing's proven set in stone one way or another yet in my eyes.
Yeah.
So hopefully, being a Liverpool fan, I certainly hope he can take it to the next level here. So let's keep it going. Speaking of great managers here, recently Mauricio Pochettino, Tottenham's coach, and Pep Guardiola, Man City's manager, both recently came out and said that the greatest manager in the world today, according to them, is Marcelo Bielsa, who is currently with Napoli, I believe. He's a little bit mercurial and he bounces around. I don't know, or he may be at Lille.
At Lille. Yeah,
Yeah,
it's at Lille.
right. He's at Lille. Sorry. He where was he? I think he was at Lazio for like 2 days last year. It was a very funny story that like he came in, was made promises, and then 2 days later he just quit. But anyway, so Marcelo Bielsa, according to them, is the greatest manager in the world. Matt, what do you make of those comments? How much do you really know about Marcelo Bielsa?
I really do not know much, if I'm going to be honest.
Yeah, no worries. So like I had read Inverting the Pyramid, which was a book by Jonathan Wilson that got really detailed into soccer tactics and kind of bringing him from the beginnings of soccer in the late 1800s all the way up through modern time in the early 2000s. And in the early 2000s is when Bielsa was kind of at the height of his influence. And so he was the first one to really push this high press style that a lot of the managers are using today and have built off of his teachings. And so I think it's pretty impressive, just all of Bielsa's disciples and people that have kind of learned from him. And so I think that he doesn't get the credit and the recognition that he deserves and that he ultimately should be getting, because he hasn't managed those really, really top level teams.
Yeah, so has it been like, has he gotten those top level job offers, or has he not gone after them?
It's a combination of things, because he is such a crazy personality. He's managed, I believe, the Argentina national team. He definitely has managed the Argentina national team, and he's managed big clubs, but never the super clubs. And I think part of it is that he commands a lot of respect and decision making, and a lot of the big clubs aren't willing to give him that. And so he's always kind of been at the better clubs, but still middle to better clubs, and not at these super clubs.
Okay.
So yeah, so I just found it really, really interesting that these managers are citing him as the greatest manager in the world, and not really a ton of people even know kind of who he is and what he's done throughout his career. So just wanted to highlight that and throw out that people should be paying more attention to him, and hopefully Lille will be more competitive in League this upcoming season. Anything else you want to throw in?
No.
Cool. All right, so that's it for segment 1 here, but we're going to be right back with segment 2 after this short musical break. Stick around. Okay. Anything you want to say? You good?
No. Yeah,
Good to keep going?
fast.
Huh?
Going fast.
Yeah, it's going fast. All right. Welcome back, listeners, to segment 2, and this is where we talk about our fan futsal game from this past weekend. So we played with EPL clubs this week, and things did not go great for really any of us, Christian and Matt especially. First, let's congratulate user The Guy in the Green for putting up 93 points. Great username as well. Way out in front of us and a lot of the other competitors in the league. I came in 4th overall, but first out of the brothers with 61 points. Christian came 8th overall, second out of the brothers with 43. And Matt, you came in 9th, last of the brothers with 37 points. What happened?
I trusted my heart too much. Crystal Palace, got a soft spot for them. I don't know why. I guess it's because maybe we went to see their game back when, what was that, 4 years ago now?
Yeah, jeez.
Almost, 4 seasons ago. Yeah, but that was a big disappointment. I had them at keeper, letting up 3 goals. So that really put me off to a bad start. And then Bournemouth. I don't really have too much love for Bournemouth, but I have a lot of hate towards West Brom. So having them at striker away from home may have not been the best decision. They got held scoreless, and that just put me in a big hole. Yeah.
Yeah, and then so you had City, Southampton, and Everton as your other clubs. City and Southampton came through for you, but Everton just with the one goal up top. So that was, getting two clubs with 0 points, it put you in a big hole, and that's why you kind of came in last. Then that leaves me because Christian's not here. When he doesn't win, he doesn't want to come on the podcast. That's how this works. So that leaves me in first out of the brothers, 61 points. I also had Crystal Palace at goalkeeper, Huddersfield Town, newly promoted club. Last year, they had a negative goal difference. They had they haven't really signed a ton of players. I didn't expect them to score. I certainly didn't expect them to score 3 goals, but they scored 3 and I got 0 out of my keeper. But other than that, a lot of good decisions. I had Southampton at defender. They played Swansea City 0-0, 13 points out of my defense. I also had Chelsea on defense, which wasn't a good decision either. Gary Cahill got the early red card. Cesc Fabregas got the late red card. Chelsea gave up 3 goals, scored 2, but ultimately didn't get me a ton of points. I had West Brom because I trusted Tony Bullis in his negative kind of tactics. 1-0 victory, had him on defense. That was great. And then up top, I had Arsenal, who scored 4 goals, won their match. That was big for me, and that's what ultimately got me the win in the game between the brothers. So I am happy about that. We are going to be doing Bundesliga this upcoming weekend. That league is starting back up. Games start on Friday. So look for the Bros Talking Soccer game on fanfutsal.com. That'll be the name of the game. It'll have BUN in the title. So join it. See if you can beat us. My username is DKnits11. Christian's is CKnittle12. And Matt's is MPK8110. Hope you'll join us in that game. That's it for our second segment here. We are flying right along. We're going to take one more quick break before finishing up with our last segment. Stay with us. Okay. So we got Ronaldo, Orlando, Kaka's red card. Did you see that whole thing?
Actually, my computer was like freezing when I tried to watch it. I'll try to watch it again.
Yeah, you should watch.
Why was it the 97th minute?
Why was what in the 97th minute?
The red card.
For Kaka?
Yeah.
Because they did video review.
The clock doesn't stop?
No, it's soccer. Clock never stops.
Oh, I guess that makes sense. I just assumed.
You know what assuming does, Matt?
Kills you. Well, this isn't working. Let me try again. Sorry, I don't know why this is taking so long. I'm just closing a bunch of tabs.
No worry.
Still 2-0 in Madrid.
Nice.
Oh my god, why is this taking so long? I might just watch it on my phone.
Okay.
Podcast topics. Kaka. Wait, the suspension's 5 games. That was
Yeah.
before. It was like
When they sent the email, they hadn't announced the suspension yet. So they just said, okay, we lost Matt. Hopefully he'll be back. We need Christian on here. It's getting a little stale. Matt's not paying attention. And I'm talking to myself. I'll just be texting him, trying to figure out where the hell I went. Sorry, folks, if you're watching. I am hopeful that Matt will be back soon. I don't know where he went, and I'm trying to get in touch with him. So stick with us. Technology. Sometimes it's great, other times incredibly frustrating. Okay. He's coming back. His computer closed out of stuff, so hopefully he'll be back in a minute. Just keep this thing rolling along. We got 3 more topics to cover here. We'll talk about Cristiano's shoving of the ref, Kaka's red card, which was really weird, and then talk about Carlos Vela coming to LAFC. So that will be it for this week, and then hopefully Christian will be back next week. We'll get a little bit of debate going here because Matt and I a lot of times agree on stuff, and there we go. He's back.
Sorry about that.
No worries. Did you see the Kaka video?
Yeah.
Okay.
What's he doing? Touching his face like that.
Yeah, well, apparently him and Aurelian Collin used to be teammates, and they were just like joking around.
Yeah, he was.
So that's the whole
backstory, right?
What's that?
He was on Orlando, right? Collins.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, you ready for the last segment here?
Yeah.
Okay. Welcome back, listeners, to segment 3, our last segment, and we'll jump right in and talk about Cristiano Ronaldo. So he certainly had an eventful first leg of the Super Copa match against Barcelona at the Camp Nou. Subbed on scored the go-ahead goal, celebrated by taking his shirt off and mimicking Messi's celebration that he did at the Bernabeu last year. So he got a yellow card for that. A few minutes later, he was judged to have dove by the referee. I have not seen the video, but from what I've heard, he apparently wasn't a dive, and he was given a second yellow card and sent off. Before leaving the match, though, the referee was turned and running away from him. He shoved the referee in the back. He was subsequently banned 1 match for the red, 4 additional matches for shoving the referee, so 5 matches in total. Matt, what did you think about him and all of his antics here, shoving the referee and all that?
Yeah, well, still never understand the taking off the shirt. It just doesn't make sense. You're just putting yourself in a bad situation and your team in a bad situation. So that yellow card's just idiotic.
Got to show off the body, you know?
Yeah, and I know we were talking after and saying like neither of us got to see the clip, but you said it didn't seem like he.
I haven't seen it, but I've heard that it wasn't a dive. Really, it doesn't matter whether it was a dive or not. He got a second yellow, and then he shoved the official. So
yeah, forgot about that part.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't necessarily call it a shove. It was more of a push. It was a push. It deserves a suspension, but I don't think it's a shove.
So it was 4 matches, right?
5.
Well, yeah, 1 for the red and then 4 for the push.
Oh, yeah.
For the push.
Yeah. So I think that's pretty fair.
So we were looking at side-by-side video of Messi doing something pretty similar and not getting, I don't think, even a card. When was that video? Last year? Or the year before?
That was a while ago. Okay. I think that was still long hair Messi.
Okay. So was there any inconsistencies there for you or no?
I mean, it was on a big stage for Ronaldo against Barcelona, and it was after he got a red card. So it probably just made it look worse. Yeah, the whole thing, it seems like he's freaking out about the red card, shoving the ref, which is going to be looked at completely disrespectful. Whereas I think like the Messi one was like during a missed call or something, and the ref was like running by. But
yeah,
it was years ago. I think Ronaldo deserves the suspension. It's fine.
Yeah, I think either way, you can't put your hands on the official. And like you were saying, it drives me crazy every time I see it too. But players who take their shirt off are just absolutely idiotic, and they're putting themselves in a position like this where yellow cards are dished out so frequently nowadays that you can't take one for something so stupid. And so it's hard to have any sympathy whatsoever for Ronaldo. So I'm with you there, and I think the 4-match suspension likely is justified. Anything else you want to say on the matter?
No.
No? Okay, keep this thing rolling. Speaking of red cards, in Orlando City's recent match against the New York Red Bulls, there was a shoving match between players. You know, as soon as a couple of players start shoving, everybody else comes in, and so there was a big gathering of people, and in that whole mess, Kaka grabbed Aurelian Collins' face from behind, and both players were kind of laughing about it because they used to be teammates in Orlando, and it was clearly playful. So when the melee kind of subsided and the match official, or really it was a sideline official, said something to the match official, and the match official then went to the video assistant referee, VAR, looked at the video and ultimately gave Kaka a red card for that. Matt, do you agree with Kaka getting a red card for what he did?
Unfortunately, yes. I know it was playful, but I don't know why he's grabbing another man's face. You're on a professional field. It looked weird. Like it just looked, and especially in that environment where like other people were taking it kind of seriously and pushing and shoving. And he just comes in and grabs Colin's face. It would piss me off. Someone just grabbed my face.
Yeah, it was so odd and awkward. And, you know, European and, well, just foreign soccer players, a lot of times they do like the, you know, lovingly touching a guy's ear, rubbing a head or something like that. And it's always so weird and awkward. So I think it's a little bit different than the culture that we're oftentimes used to. But from my perspective, it looks really strange. And he grabbed it with like 2 hands and was like, it almost looked like he was raking his eyes or pulling his mouth open. And it was just so weird.
Yeah, I agree.
So you're okay with the red card?
Yeah, because it was too weird.
Okay. Should there be even though both players were laughing it off, so should there be any sense of context in this situation that clearly, I mean, it really was clear that both players were kind of laughing about it. Should that play any role?
In what, like his suspension or getting it
In either
appealed?
his suspension or either just in the heat of the game, in the referee's decision. So if the referee saw that, should he have taken that into account or no?
I think so, because it's still an entertainment league. Professional sports, they should be entertainment. So I think fans want to see, sometimes some some playfulness on the field. So I hope he doesn't get like a suspension for it. Um, Maybe pay like a very, very small fine, even just for maybe not conducting himself professionally. But I don't think a suspension for this is really necessary.
Okay. Yeah, I think I'm on board with you. I mean, he broke the rules, and you can't put your hands on another person's face, and it's really weird and awkward to watch. And so, the fact that they were both laughing makes it okay, but it was still just really weird. And at the end of the day, it was, I think, the 97th minute when he got the red card. It didn't really affect too much of the match outcome or any of that. And so hopefully he doesn't get suspended, but it really was strange to watch. And we'll have a story and put the link in our show notes to listeners. You can judge for yourself because it was weird. Last topic we have here, sticking in MLS. It was the end of the transfer window last week, and the biggest signing maybe in the last 5 to 10 years of the league happened with LAFC signing Carlos Vela. Some would say the most talented player on the Mexican national team, at least top 3 right now. Matt, what do you think about this move, him coming to LAFC in January for next season? So what do you think about it from MLS and LAFC perspective first?
I think it's great. I think it's great for the league. I don't know how big the following is of Mexican Americans or even Mexicans of the MLS, but I think that should definitely increase even more with this signing. So I think that's just going to only help out the league.
Yeah, it's a huge player to get for MLS and LAFC. With the launch of a new team, they're going to have an invigorated fan base, and so capturing some of the Mexican Americans and Mexicans in the LA area and beyond the LA area is going to be huge for them. Like I said, I think he is, I think, the biggest signing since probably David Beckham, because he is a Mexican national team player in his prime who is one of the most talented. The only one who would be bigger is if they would have gotten Chicharito, but the attention, both media and fan attention, that's going to come with Vela coming here is huge. So now let's flip the script and talk about it from Carlos Vela's perspective. He's coming from La Liga, which is arguably the best league in the world, if not top 2 or 3. He's coming to MLS, which is without question a step down in quality. Now he's going to have to carry the team and be a focal point, which comes, with a whole different set of circumstances. So what do you think about it from his perspective coming to MLS, Matt?
Well, I think it all depends on what he wants. How old is he now?
I think he's 28.
28. So he did play in Spain for, the majority of his career, right? Ever since I've been following him, he's been in La Liga, bounced around through a couple teams, but he's always been in La Liga, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, as far as I know. I mean, he started in Liga MX, but
yeah. So I don't know how much more he's gonna learn at this point in his career at 28. I don't think his level of quality is going to go down necessarily by coming to the MLS, and I don't think he's going to lose his spot in the national team either. I think it might be better for his confidence even. Giovinco was another one who came in his prime from Serie A, and he's just torn up the league, but because Italy's probably a little bit more competitive than the Mexican national team, he kind of lost his spot in making Italy's team by coming to MLS, but I don't think that should happen to Vela.
okay. Yeah, and I mean, Juan Carlos Osorio or whoever. Well, Juan Carlos Osorio has proven that he'll still call in Mexican players who play in MLS. Who knows if he's still going to be the coach with how frequently Mexican national team changes their coach. But there's that. So what about, so a lot of people are saying Vela is a little bit flippant in how he trains. So sometimes he doesn't train, sometimes he doesn't show up. His attitude has been called into question. And LAFC's manager is Bob Bradley, who is very kind of stern, very kind of strict sort of rules. Do you think there's going to be any sort of culture clash or any sort of issues between the two of them, or do you think that each will learn how to adapt?
I think they'll learn how to adapt. You always hear stories. Ronaldinho didn't always go to practice, so why can't Carlos Vela skip some
Well, look
practices?
how Ronaldinho turned out after winning the Ballon d'Or at 26. His career just kind of flamed out, and he didn't come anywhere near his potential and what he could have been. So I don't know if that's the best example we want to set.
He won 2 Ballon d'Ors.
Do you have 2?
I think so. I think it was 2, and then Kaka, and then
Okay. Yeah, no, that does sound right. But I mean, yeah, I don't know if he's the shining example we want to have. But I do think, I don't know how much Vela is going to adapt, but I think Bob Bradley has always kind of proven wherever he's gone, he's been able to adjust himself, with the exception of Swansea, because that was just a really, really tough situation. But he's proven that he's been to Egypt and has, adapted to that culture. He went to Norway and adapted to that culture and achieved great success. And I expect the same thing to happen with him in LA. So it'll be interesting to follow, and they're going to be fascinating to follow with their roster building and how that all works out. So with that, Matt, is there anything else you wanted to mention about any of the topics we talked about today?
No.
Yeah, I think I'm good. The only thing I wanted to mention, so we're recording this right as the second leg of the Super Copa is going on between Barca and Real, and Real looks scary good. Like they dominated United last week or the week before, and I thought it was just Real's quality was just that much higher than Manchester United. They are absolutely destroying Barcelona and making Barcelona look not very good. And so they're clearly the best team in Europe for me, and we'll see kind of how they continue to function. And Ronaldo and Bale and Isco aren't even playing right now, and they're just destroying. So it's good. They're scary good right now. So if you're not paying attention, you should start following what's going on there, because it may be historic. With that, that is all we were talking about this week. We'll have links to all the stories we discussed here in our show notes. We'll also tweet them out from our Bros Talking Soccer Twitter handle, which is @BTSoccerPod. If you want to get in contact with us, our email is bros.talking.soccer@gmail.com. And everything was brought to you by Fan Futsal. We have all the games from the major leagues, fantasy games. Check them out. It's a lot of fun, really, really simplified version. So if you've never played fantasy soccer before, it's something really cool to check out. Matt, thank you for being here this week. And thank you, listeners, for spending some time with us. We'll talk to you next week. See you, everyone. What's up? Were you about to say something or no?
Yeah, Mascherano just went in for a crazy tackle. The game just ended 2-0.
Okay.
Suarez looks like he's hurt.
Legit hurt or just his pride?
He pulled up and he limped the last minute and a half.
Yeah.
He's been holding it. It was probably the last 5 minutes.
Okay. Yeah, I don't know. So something to follow.
Yeah.
All right, YouTubers, if you stuck through all this, thank you. I know we had some dead periods there, but we appreciate it. And we'll talk to you next week. Hopefully Christian will be back. See ya.